The film begins by showing the condition of Spain, which experienced a shortage of resources for 17 months, not only Spain. There are several other countries which also experienced the same thing. In order to end this problem, the government also made an inadequate movement by arresting every pregnant woman and child. To reduce the population, the story then switches to showing a husband and wife named Mia and Nico who plan to escape from Spain via illegal routes. With Mia being pregnant, Nico was determined to make this decision because he didn't want Mia to be arrested by the government after paying with some money and their wedding rings. Nico finally managed to get into the container along with several other people who also intended to escape. Most of them are pregnant women or families with children. So the plan is that this container will take them to the port and send them to Ireland by sea. On the way, Nico felt Mia's stomach to check on the condition of their baby. Mia said that she hadn't felt a kick from her baby for 2 days and that made her quite worried. But Nico tried to strengthen Mia and assure her that their baby would definitely be born safely. Not long afterward, the container suddenly stopped and opened. At that time, there were many people who entered the container, so the container owner divided them and told half of them to get down. But Nico was one of the people who was ordered to go down. So he was separated from Mia, who was crying in fear when she saw from the container hole that Nico had entered another green container. With the number 107, Mia quickly called Nico. Nico calmed Mia down by saying that he would try everything so that they could meet again. After arriving at the port, while on the way to the port, the container passed through streets filled with chaos due to the crisis that had occurred. The container was also hit by gunfire several times, which left holes in several parts. It was through the holes that Mia saw that there were so many pregnant women and children who had been forcibly arrested by the police. The current container carrying Mia then stopped at the checkpoint. The police will check containers passing through the road to ensure that no one is crossing the port illegally. Fortunately, the container is designed with 2 rooms so that the police don't find out who is hiding. However, the police turned out to be smart enough. He deliberately shot part of the container so he knew that there were other parts hidden inside the container. As a result, they were caught and asked to leave. The police promised not to hurt them and took them to a safe place. None of the passengers dared to come out and show themselves. Mia, who was there, chose to climb onto a wooden box so she could protect herself. Who would have thought that Mia's decision was the right decision? Because after that, the police shot everyone, including the children. Only Mia managed to survive the incident. She immediately sent a message to Nico telling him to hide immediately, because Mia didn't want to lose Nico. After continuing the journey, the container finally arrived at the port. The container and several other containers were then transported onto a ship and would be sent to Ireland. Until then, Mia kept trying to contact Nico, but she had not received an answer. When night fell, the transport ship experienced severe shaking due to the rain and storm in the middle of the sea. The people who were still in the containers shouted for help, as did Mia. Unfortunately, the ship's officers did not have time to get everyone out. So several containers fell into the sea due to the increasing shaking hard. This incident caused Mia, who was in the container, to be thrown and finally fainted. A few hours later, Mia woke up to a container that was starting to flood because water was coming in through small holes. She peeked through the holes and all she could see was the expanse of sea and several containers that had sunk, so now Mia was trapped in a container. And he had to survive in there until help arrived. Not long after, Mia saw the green container number 107, which was slowly starting to sink. And she heard screams from the people inside. Mia panicked, thinking about Nico's safety. Especially at that time, Nico still couldn't be contacted. It was getting dark, and slowly Mia began to lose her will to survive. She grabbed a knife nearby and intended to commit suicide. But her stomach suddenly moved, indicating that the baby was still alive. This made Mia give up her plans, and she chose to survive. The next day, Mia began to make up her mind to survive in the container. She began to collect the items that were there, starting from a bottle of water, a flashlight, a lighter, an iron drill, and several other objects. Not long after, Mia got a call from Nico, unexpectedly. Nico was still alive because the driver carrying the container tricked the passengers and left them outside the city. After hearing what happened to Mia, Nico asked Mia to remain calm and he promised he would immediately save her. The following night, Mia's container was again hit by rain and storms. That night, Mia tried to hold on as hard as she could because it looked like she was going to give birth. In the midst of the shack, Mia finally gave birth to a baby girl. The poor baby was born in dark and cold conditions, but luckily she was still able to be saved. There was no medical equipment to help Mia at that time, so the baby's placenta had to be removed by herself and she kept it inside. Next, Mia is confused about how to calm her baby who keeps crying. After all, the baby must be hungry. But Mia has difficulty expressing breast milk because she lacks food and drink intake. That's why Mia tries to fulfill her intake by eating and drinking as much as she can. Day by day, the food and drink started to run out. But until now, Mia was still trapped in the container. So she started to cut a hole in the ceiling of the container so she could get out and look for food. Unfortunately, before she had time to finish, the drilling tool suddenly broke. This made Mia very frustrated because she was hungry and thirsty. Mia was finally forced to eat her own baby's placenta because she couldn't hold on anymore. The next day, Mia again tried to cut a hole in the container with a folding knife. But it turned out that her folding knife was also damaged. As time went on, Mia became weaker and more helpless. Until one night, Mia dreamed that her first daughter, Yuma, turned out to be a victim of government arrest when the regulations had just been implemented. This is what made Nico desperate to take Mia away from Spain because he didn't want Mia and their future baby to also be arrested by the government. The next morning, it rained quite heavily. Mia quickly took some Tupperware to store water. After that, Mia got the idea to pull open the container hole using a belt, and fortunately it worked. After a long time, Mia was finally able to breathe fresh air and she could see that all around her there was only a wide expanse of sea. Accidentally, when Mia was throwing away her child's feces, the fish started to get closer, which gave her the idea to catch fish as food. Then Mia also saw a plane passing by. She immediately took a piece of glass, hoping that the people on the plane would see that there was someone who needed help. Because she was in a hurry, Mia's leg was torn because it was scratched by the metal container. Because the blood continued to flow, Mia was forced to sew up the wound using improvised tools. The next day, Mia succeeded in making a net to catch fish. Fortunately, Mia's efforts finally paid off because Mia was finally able to eat fish even though it was eaten raw. Mia's struggle continued. This time she threw dozens of Tupperware containing words asking for help in the hope that maybe someone would find them. Surprisingly, Mia and her baby, named Noah, survived in the container until the 12th day. That day, Mia finally got a call from Nico. At first, Mia thought that Nico was on his way to save them, but it turned out that in the telephone call, Nico was about to say goodbye to Mia because he was dying. Nico's intention to save Mia was immediately destroyed because he was caught by the police and shot. Mia then told Nico about their child who had been born, and this made Nico happy for the last remaining part of his life. Now Mia's hopes have been completely destroyed. She no longer knows what to do, and it seems like she has lost her reason to survive. Long story short, on the 26th day, some of the containers are now starting to be submerged in water. Mia takes Noah to the top of the container while preparing tools for survival. In the evening, the holes in the container, which had been closed, now started to open again so that more and more water came in. Mia tried to get into the container to take a photo of Yuma, who was left behind, but unfortunately Mia's foot got caught in the rope. In the midst of the container sinking, Mia tried hard to free herself, and luckily it worked. As soon as she got out of the container, Mia tried to find Noah in the middle of the vast ocean. A whale approached Mia's body, but fortunately the whale didn't eat her. A jet of water from the whale's back then hit Noah's body, and it made him cry. Thanks to that, Mia was able to hear Noah's voice and managed to find him. Now the mother and child have finally met. But who knows how long they can survive being adrift in the middle of the ocean. The next day, the seagulls gathered around Mia and Noah. Because of the fish carcasses that were in the Tupperware, fortunately, this attracted the attention of a husband and wife, who were sailing, so they came closer and saved Noah. When the rope near Noah was pulled, they found Mia in an unconscious state. The mother quickly gave Mia artificial respiration, and fortunately it managed to save her life. The father then called the authorities and told them that they had found a mother and baby who needed help. After struggling for almost a month, Mia and Noah finally got help and managed to survive. The film finished.